right.
All right. Hearsay live. We live on that. Oh, hold
You
on. Hold
go.
on.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all we had to.
We on. We on.
We
So,
on IG.
yeah.
Hold on, man, because I can't see the.
Oh man, you messing up again. Mm-mm.
Hold on, man. Yeah, because I can't see the. I can't see the comments.
But are you live though?
Oh, hold on. Nah, there we go. Boom, we live, man.
Okay. Okay.
We live.
Mm,
We on.
okay. All right. Well, what's up, family? This is our Oshayun.
You gotta do it again. He giving y'all my name.
Oh, I'm
He wanna be
tripping.
he wanna be like me when he grow up.
I know. Hey, I done did that a couple times. Hey, I'm tripping. What's up, family? This is our Wolf Out Four.
What's going on, good people? This is our O'Shea On. Welcome back to the Who Made Y'all Priest podcast, where we talk about our. Oh, see, I don't even see when we be recording. this gonna be the bloopers of the Who Made Y'all Priest podcast, man. We talk about our spiritual journeys, our everyday life experiences, and the issues of the time from the perspective of two people who just happen to be priests. What's going on, Papa Ray?
Man, nothing much. Hey, you know what? I just got back from LA. And I found me this McDonald's. I went to this McDonald's while I was out there. Man, I had me a Big Mac.
Yeah.
For the first time in 12 years. And it was fire.
I saw you on there. I saw you on there.
Fire.
Yeah. Talk to us about it. So have you fell off the wagon?
Yeah, man. So you know what? So it'll be 12 years vegan December 1st. And so the way I ended my meat eating run, I went crazy. Right. Now, mind you, I was only giving up meat and dairy for like 90 days.
Right.
But I ate, man, I had McDonald's. I can't even tell you how many times I had Papa John's. Man, I had, I think, some Olive Garden. I was going in, right?
All right.
And so my birthday is on Tuesday. So that'd be 999 on a personal year 9 and a universal year 9.
Oh, yeah.
So we know 9 is all about necessary endings for new beginnings. So Spirit been getting on me for a while, like, hey man, look, you just need to leave that occasional mess that you be eating, the occasional Beyond Burger, and you just need to leave that alone. You need to leave all that trash alone. And I was like, man, I love it though. But so I went crazy in LA, and on my birthday, that's it, man. I'm done. I'm gonna be whole food, plant-based diet for here on out. But I posted that on social media, man. I had a lot of social media detectives. They figured out that I really wasn't at McDonald's. So I was at a place called Mr. Charlie's. But man, when I tell you, that tasted like a Big Mac. Like it tasted exactly like a Big Mac.
Yeah.
And so I went to that thing about 3 times during the weekend.
Yeah.
And get it all out of my system. So it's good, man. So I've been raw yesterday and today. I'm gonna go raw up until my birthday. But yeah, I'm done. I'm done with all the trash. I'm getting focused, man. I'm getting focused. I'm trying to be the best version of myself, man. So I'm done, man.
I feel you. Recently, since I've been doing this new thing, I've been following these regulative principles, and there's this one of the regulative principles is not eating meat. So even you would be proud of me because I ain't ate no zuzus and wham whams for probably a little over a month now, man. A little over a month.
Dang.
No zuzus and wham whams. Now I'm still
How
on
you
the coffee.
feeling?
I'm still on the coffee now. So you hating already. See, you shaking your head, and you just got through eating some stuff that is admittedly some trash.
Oh, but you don't even understand the half though. I went and got me some donuts. I found this vegan donut spot.
Right.
Man, when I tell you them donuts tasted like Krispy Kremes and Shipley's, oh God. Yeah. Woo, I was going in, you hear me? But yeah, I'm good. That's I'm been going raw, been getting it all about my body, you know what I'm saying? A lot of trips to the bathroom, but
yeah.
I'm gonna have a whole day of ritual on my birthday on 9/9, and yeah, man, I'm gonna wake up 9/10 a whole new person.
I feel you, man.
Yeah. Now, so you said a thing though, right? And I don't know if everybody caught it, but you said it on the slide though. So you said you've been doing this new thing. Now here at the Who Made Y'all Priest podcast, we take our family with us through our spiritual journey. So tell the family about your new thing that you've been on.
So I kind of, for those of y'all that have been on this journey with us, y'all know that Fafore and myself, we went and got our Lave Tech. We went and started our journey into Haitian Vodou. Since then, I've kind of fell back from Haitian Vodou just because if you know me, you know I like to ask a lot of questions, have a lot of access to those that are going to be teaching us this new thing. So I kind of fell back from the Haitian Vodou thing. For those of y'all that have been sticking around with us, y'all know the last time we did an episode, we interviewed Sundar Nanda Das, or Brother Scott, and he practices Hinduism, which if you watch the video, you know that's a misnomer. He's a Vaishnava. And so I've been going, head first into that. I've been going head first into that, asking him 1,000 questions. If you know me, you know I'm big on the questions. He's been patient with me about that. So I've been asking a lot of questions. I've started reading the Bhagavad Gita, buying a lot of their books, a lot of their literature, reading, asking questions, going to the temple. So I've been having a good time, man. I've been doing a lot of reading, getting into a lot of new philosophies, a lot of new vocabulary. So it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to learn, man, but I'm loving it so far.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's the interesting thing, right, about you in this journey. And so people who know us personally, people who just been watching the podcast over the years, they have been witness to our journey. And so got on my monthly call with our Mambo, and she asked about you, and I was like, yeah, we might not be seeing Oshayon or Sam, as she knows you. We might not be seeing Sam for a while. She was like, why? So I told her, he done ventured off, and, he's, interested in Hinduism. And I was telling her some of the reasons, why, as, we're going to get into that, so we can really let the people understand your journey and what prompted these decisions. And so we talked about it. I told her about it. She said, okay, cool. Then we get on another call, maybe a couple weeks after that. And she asked about you. Told me you were doing well. So then she asked me a question. She was like, how do you feel about, the whole thing with him taking the journey? I was like, oh, it's cool. And then she was like, really? I said, well, I ain't even gonna lie. And then she started laughing. I said, at first, my heart was hurting a little bit. I was like, man, we supposed to be doing this together. Like, it's supposed to be me and you. We going down our path. We doing this thing the whole night. I was like, it ain't the same. And she's like, I thought so. I was like, yeah. She was like, yeah, because y'all done so much together. I said, yeah. So, like, it really ain't the same. And so, so yeah, I was like, man, this sucks. But I understood it. And I knew from the moment we got off that podcast episode and you asked for his number, I said, oh, he's about to be gone with the wind. So let's really go into it a little bit though. Like walk the people through what prompted your decision as this was the move for you to make at this moment.
Mostly the things that we talked about. It talks about the soul, what happens when we die, and the fact that everything is written down. You know how I am about reading and being able to get to the crux of information. So that was one of the main things. And then my access to him being willing to be my teacher, teach me everything that I needed to know. Him to kind of guide me as of where should I start and what should I be doing, etc. So that was one of the main things where I felt like I now again have access to a teacher that can teach me the things that I want to know, and he had all of the answers that I wanted to my questions, to my many questions.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's and I've been going to meet a lot of new people. Like I said, I've been going to the temple, so I've been doing that, and it's been a beautiful thing, man. I've been to some of the festivals. I've been to more than one temple. I've met a lot of people, man. A lot of people.
Okay. So there's some other things that go into that too. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and pull the veil all the way back.
Talk to me. What you want to know?
So, what is another key difference between Hinduism and, say, Haitian Voodoo or even Ifa for that matter, that has made Hinduism attractive?
The main thing is that everything is written down. That's the main thing, because I have my own access. I don't have anybody telling me you're not ready for that, or you have to get this initiation to get that. You got to do this to do that. I have unfettered access to everything that I want to have access to right now. The
Why
other
is that
things
important? So let's stay there real quick for a minute. Why is that important that everything is written down?
It's important for me specifically because I just need access to the information myself. Like, I don't like people, and it's just for me specifically, I don't like for people to come into information and interpret it a certain way and then tell it to me a certain way. I would rather read the information myself and then ask questions. That's just how my mind works. My mind works in a way like you couldn't even read me a story that I could see you holding a book. You couldn't read me a story and I would just be like, all right, now let me read it myself. I would need to read it myself.
And people who don't know you personally might laugh at that, but no, that's him for real. Because he gonna always ask where you get that from. And I'm like that too. I'm gonna ask too, where you get that from. Right? But you probably even more than me. So
yeah,
but we also had a conversation also about that though, not only from the standpoint of interpretation, but also you were talking from the standpoint of, it's there. Like, you can easily see it. There's, from a standpoint of, there's no argument about what is said. There's no, we do it like this, but then they do it like this, and so forth and so on. Like, talk about that a little bit.
Right, everything is written down. It's been my experience so far that there are no different interpretations surrounding the literature. One of the differences that I saw that I've experienced so far is they want everybody to be learned in the literature. Everybody from the jump, they want you to know the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. They want you to know and read the Srimad Bhagavatam. They want you to read and understand these things because they want you to debate. They want you to ask questions. They want you to try to figure things out. So from the very beginning, they're like, read this, read that, read this, read that. You know, one of the things that we were taught coming into Ifa is that you can't learn this tradition from books. You know, we were taught that, and that's understandable because Ifa is an oral tradition. It's an oral tradition. Not so much with Hinduism because everything is written down. You can go and find everything that you need, anything that anybody can tell you. It's all written down. Now it's scattered because it's a lot of literature. I mean, a lot.
Right.
I talked to you about the Srimad Bhagavatam that I wanted so badly. It's an 18 book set. Each book at least 1,000 pages. This is a lot of literature to read, to try to internalize, to become, to try to apply. It's a lot of information, but everything is written down. I can ask as many questions as I want. I'm in classes already. I'm not even officially a part of a temple yet, but I'm getting into classes. I'm trying to learn Bengali, trying to learn Sanskrit, getting into these philosophical classes on the soul and Bhagavad Gita classes. So all of that's important to me, to be able to get straight to the information and be able to ask questions.
Right. So you talked about this book, you know, all those volumes, all those pages, all that. How much those books cost?
Man, you know what's crazy is that so the original price for this 18 book set was $2.99, right? So I went to the what's called.
Whoa, hold on. 18 large books?
18 large books. You want me to step away and grab one of them?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me step away and grab one of them.
Yeah, seeing is believing.
This is the first book. Look at that. This is just the first book. Well, this one is well over 1,200 pages, 1,300 pages. 18 books, very similar to this, which comes out to about $15 a book, maybe. $15 a book. I've bought books that were so cheap that it was better for me to buy 2 or 3 of them at a time. It was better for me. I just recently got this. It's the same book, but I got 3 of the same one because one of them was probably $20 and all 3 of them would be $25. So they really want you to read the literature. They really, really, really want you to read the literature. Now the book.
I'm gonna say it like you told me. You told me they price their books like they want everybody to get the information.
They do. Not only that though, all of the books are free. They have this. It's called Vedabase. So on Vedabase, you can go to that website, and they have all of the books there for you for free. If you want to read them, I just can't read like that. I like to hold the book. I like to touch it. I like to underline and highlight and that. So, but you can read this whole 18 volume set. You can read all of this on Vedabase, but they definitely want everybody to read all of the literature, and they want to debate you. They want to talk to you about Hinduism, for sure they do.
Man. So we talked about initiations and the process of initiations and the cost of initiations. What does that look like?
You're not charged for initiation in in Hinduism. It's free. Your initiations are done by, I'm going to use their technical word, which is a sannyasi. Your initiation is done by a sannyasi. This is a person that has vowed to never own anything, to never have anything, to only travel the world and teach. So they go into different countries, different wherever you may be, and they initiate people, and it's free because they want you to be there. They want you to be there. They their temples are open every single day, Sunday through Saturday, every single day. Every single day. They're there from 5 a.m. till 9 p.m, going in there, listening to what they call Harikatha, listening to the pastimes of Krishna and other illustrious people. But they definitely want you to read the literature. They want you to understand what it is that you're practicing. And it's a lot now. Everything is written down now. I'm talking about everything. Stuff that you wouldn't think to think about is in here. It's in here.
Right.
Anything you could think of to talk about is in this literature. And I'm just buying books. I got books on the floor now. I don't even have space for books now. I'm just buying books, mainly because I'm afraid that the books are gonna go up. So because I'm still thinking about this Ifa thing. I spent $100 on this 18 volume set. I've spent $100. I've spent $150 on one book that was probably 200 pages.
In Ifa.
Yeah. My chief Fama book I bought directly from her. I think I paid $149, $150 for it. Yeah, man. They definitely want you to read the literature. The initiations are free. Another thing about the initiation is that once you are initiated, and again, their initiation, what they call Harinam initiation, would be close to a hand of Ifa. Is where you get your spiritual name and all of those things. You don't get any implements to take home and nothing like that. But once you get that initiation, you can train to do anything else. If you want to be the person up there on the altar, giving offerings to the deities, you can train to do that. You can whatever it is that you want to do that people are doing at the temple, you can train to do it. And
so that sounds kind of like Haitian voodoo, where there's levels of initiation.
There are some different levels of initiation. Like I know Scott says, Sundar Ananda Das, he says that in his lineage they get 2 initiations in one. They get 2 initiations in one. Everything after that is you probably gonna be getting some stuff you don't want to get into anyway. Like you don't want to be a renunciate. I know I don't.
What's that?
A renunciate? That's a sannyasi. That's vowing to to never own anything, never own a home, never have a bank account, just travel the world and teach. And you basically living in the temples. That's another thing about the temples. People live there. People live at these temples. Yeah, they live at these temples. So it's deep, man. It's deep, and I'm in love with it so far. So this is a frustrating time for me. You've known me for a long time. This is a frustrating time for me because I'm learning some new information, and in my mind, once I opened up the book the first time, I feel like I should know it all already. So this is a frustrating time for me to be around people that know things that I have no idea what they're talking about. So it's a struggle, but I love it though because I know at the end I'm gonna learn a lot.
Okay, so let me ask you this: how do you juggle spiritual calling in other traditions and what you're doing now?
What you mean? What I'm doing now?
Like your study of Hinduism
versus what?
Through like your spiritual calling in other traditions, whether it's Ifa or Haitian Voodoo. Like, how do you balance, juggle, do all of those different things? How does that work?
So to me, it's easy for me to find the similarities in all of these traditions. So they are very similar. Hinduism is another one of those traditions that doesn't require you to stop doing what you're already doing or believe a certain way. They don't really have that in the tradition. There's also really nothing for me to do here at home besides study and chant. The chanting is almost incessant, or it should be. It should be. That's something I'm developing a discipline for. Is the chanting, like just being able to just sit still and chant, because they want you to chant a lot. They want you to chant a lot. That's one of the things that they definitely want you to do from the jump is chant. There are 4 other things that they call their 4 regulative principles. Those 4 things are no gambling, no intoxicants, no illicit sex, and no meat eating. And that includes eggs. They are what you call lacto vegetarians. But that's one of the things
they do dairy.
They still do dairy. They do dairy. Now there are some gurus who believe that we in the West shouldn't be drinking milk, that we shouldn't consume milk.
Mm-hmm. And our good brother believes that,
and it's based on how that's exactly why, because it's because of how they treat the cows, like how the cows are treated to get the milk from them. But other than that, they are lacto vegetarians. So those are the 4 regulative principles plus chanting that they want you to do from the very beginning, from the jump.
Right. What's going on, Hayat? So this is what we talking about. My brother Osheun, after our last podcast, has decided to embark on a new journey into Hinduism. So he's been learning and studying heavily about Hinduism. And so he's laying down that groundwork, because then we're going to pivot. But we got to lay that groundwork on his experience in Hinduism. And we're going to pivot from there to kind of go into our experience.
Right. And so far, I've only been, like you say in your famous words, I've only been doing this for 10 minutes. So, but I've been around a lot of people. I've gone to their festivals and all of that, man, all of that. So, and one of the first things that they asked you, have you been reading the books? Have you been reading the books? That was something different for me.
Right, because me and you particularly were always told from certain people in the Elay, y'all need to get out of them books. And I'm like, well, how the hell do you learn if you don't read? Yeah. Like, how do you understand?
Especially since we can't live with Baba.
Right.
You know, there has to be some supplementation to what we're being taught from mouth to ear. There has to be some supplementation. So
absolutely.
The Bhagavad Gita class that I'm in right now, they go through every verse. There's nothing that skips. There's no, we're going to talk about this chapter and we're going to talk about the themes of this chapter. It's none of that. We're going through every single verse. We're looking at Sanskrit words, and this is what this Sanskrit word means. This is the etymology of this Sanskrit word. This is why we use this English word. This verse here means this. We're going to reference the Srimad Bhagavatam. We're going to reference the Ishopanishad. We're going to reference all of this. I mean, it's hours and hours, days and days of weeks and weeks of the class I'm in right now is 2 years long, and I'm a year behind. So I'm trying to catch up right now, but I'm a year. I'm not going to catch up, but all of the I'll have access to the video. So
So let me ask you this question before we pivot, or before we expand the conversation to draw some parallels to African spirituality. So you said the initiations are free. How does that shape your thoughts and your outlook on African spirituality, which the initiations are far from free?
It's going to be controversial. You know, you and I have talked about this personally, and I'm just going to talk about it from my perspective as a priest in the tradition now. I've always had a problem with what I call selling religion or selling spirituality. Like, I've always had a problem with that. Like, I felt like it was a sacrifice that I needed to make to be able to have access to the information and be able to kind of get on the inside and learn from that space. But now, since you and I are priests, I've always had a problem with charging people for things that I feel like are ours based on us being spirits here having a human experience. I feel like it's ours. I mean, even in the land from which Ifa comes, there's no initiation and then learning the tradition. You learn the tradition and then you are initiated, which to me makes it seem like the initiation is a formality. Not saying that you don't get anything from it, but by the time you get initiated, you know everything already. You are already, for all intents and purposes, a Babalawo or a Yanifa. If you come from Yoruba land. Here, we go through the process of initiation, and then we are taught the Okwele, how to interpret Odu, blase, blase. And when I first asked Scott, Sundar Nanda, when I first asked him, so how much are these initiations, man? He was like, oh, it's free. I was like, I had more questions. I had more questions because I'm like, when you say free, does that mean like the initiation is free, but I gotta pay for this, I gotta pay for that? He was like, nah, man, you don't pay anything. You don't pay anything to get these initiations because they want you to have them. And these sannyasis have vowed to give it to you. They vowed to give it to you. So it's night and day. It's very different on that side. And that was a breath of fresh air to me because, like you say, we probably easily $10,000 in on initiations. That's easy. That's not including Freemasonry and those types of things. And so yeah, easily $10,000 into initiations. And here I'll be able to get all of the information I want. All of it is at my fingertips. If I want to read it for free, I can read it for free. If I want to buy the books are cheap. And I have access to the temple and the practitioners or the devotees, as they say.
Right. And the funny thing is, so I started off as, again, people who've been watching the show for a while. I think the first thing that I studied in regards to spirituality was Taoism. And I always said, if I met Maya Luo, that version of a priest or whatever they call them in Taoism, I'll probably be a Taoist now and not Ifa Flore. And so I just thought that tradition was amazing. And then came Haitian Voodoo.
Mm-hmm.
And I started reading about Haitian Voodoo, and I was like, oh yeah, this is dope. And then, you know, you met our Luo, and the rest is history. So, as you telling me all this, I'm looking up, I'm about to start ordering books and all this, that, and the other, the whole night. I'm about to jump into it like, yo, this is dope. Because I've, for a while, have dabbled and dabbled into Hinduism, you know, and Indian mystics like Krishnamurti and Osho. Like, I've been into that for a long time. And I love the information, just the information with the chakras. Like you said, the fact that it's all written down, right? So there's, for the lack of a better word, there's nothing lost, or there's seemingly nothing lost. I mean, it's so many books out there. I mean, if they lost something, I don't know what it is. And so it was very, very, or it is very intriguing to me. And so as I'm about to jump on that whole bandwagon myself, I had to think about my Odu in Haitian Voodoo. And when I thought about the Odu and what it is, and my Odu, I didn't get my Odu through Haitian Voodoo as a priest of E5 divined on it. Just for anybody who may be wondering, they don't use the Okwele, even though Odu is in the word voodoo. But that comes from Benin, from West Africa. So I had to really think about it and thought about, you know, my ancestors and what I had to do. But and I know this is something that you had to do, so I had to make peace with that. But when it's time to go to Haiti for Kwanzaa, I need you right there. I'm cool with everything else. You can do what you got to do, study, read what you got to do. But when it's time for us to go for initiation, we got to do that together. But so you and I have had these discussions, and I wanted to kind of bring it out so the people can understand kind of the foundation of where we're about to go. And so this morning, I had an Aberisha call me and asked me a question about the Obi, about Obi divination. And then they said, I need it written out so I can see it. Like, that's how I learn. Mm-hmm. And then it's almost like I stopped paying attention to them, and my mind went to the conversation you and I had about Hinduism. And I don't know, like I just went into this, it probably only lasted for 20 seconds, but for me, it seemed like a deep dive that quick into thinking about all our conversations and how when me and you went to the temple that first time, and then I went back and met Scott another time in the temple, and then the conversation we had on the podcast, and then the conversations you and him have had. And the one thing that you and I keep saying, that Hinduism and Ifa are very, very, very similar. Very. Right. And so with it being very similar, I remember us being, when Baba, you know, lived here in Houston, us being at the compound. And I remember kind of us and a couple of the fellas just hanging back. And I remember saying that, I was just kind of looking around, and I just said that there isn't much difference between us as Ifa practitioners and Christians. Despite the information that we have and what we know, there is no difference that I can see in regards to our health, our finances, our relationships, our unity. Like, I can't see, like I can't, and I'm a life path 7, so I'm very logical. I can't logically argue the greatness of spirituality versus something else. And I know somebody gonna say, well, it ain't about this versus that. Well, kind of in the way it is, right? For those of us, African Americans who have been taken away from our spiritual traditions of our ancestors, it kind of is comparing what was given to us versus what was taken from us. And so I'm having this whole thing is, where's the evidence that this is working for us? Because as a Life Path 7, for me, it's all about the truth. You know, it's not about picking sides. It's not about having a bias. It's about the truth, no matter what it is. Now, to be clear, because some people may hear what I said and take it the wrong way. I believe African spirituality is, I don't see myself ever not practicing Ifa, voodoo, whatever else may come down my way, African spirituality wise. I think this is it for me, probably, these two systems. I think they're amazing, right? But when I look at Indian Americans who practice Hinduism, and that when you and I look at it point by point, talking to somebody who's a priest in the tradition and agreeing, like, oh yeah, when we say something, they say, oh yeah, we got that too. Why does it look so different? Like, why does the result look so different? Mm-hmm. And so I want to read out some statistics so some people can understand where I'm going with this, right? Because I want to be able, when I talk to people as a representative of these traditions, I would hope somebody would ask me, why would I do this? Why would I practice this tradition? And I hope my answer is something that really resonates. But I have to be honest, unless you really tapped in, I don't know that I really have anything tangible to show you. And I know that's important for a lot of people. So I just want to give some statistics. So 55% of Indian Americans, those from India, not Native Americans, 55% practice Hinduism, which is their ancestral tradition. However, 66% either practice or feel a strong cultural connection to it. So you got 14% that are Muslim, you got 8% that are Christian, and you got 14% who consider themselves unaffiliated. But despite that, they 2/3, another 11% feel like a strong cultural connection. Now, in America, 62% of Americans are Christian. 75% of African Americans are Christian. And then you got 29%, which are unaffiliated, which is a larger number than I was thinking. Now, when you look at relationship status, 53% of Americans are married. 31% of African Americans are married, but 58% of Indian Americans are married. Now, when it comes to divorce, 50% of marriages in the U.S. end in divorce, but only 1% of Indian Americans' marriages end in divorce. Then 94% of first-generation Indian immigrants with children remain married. And only 2% of Indian Americans with children are unmarried. Now, health. Ifa, as we were taught by Arluo, is the wisdom of nature, the natural order of things. The Orishas are nature-based. Part of nature, like we said it, if you want to understand Ifa, you watch National Geographic. Watch how the animals mate, watch how they eat, watch how they hunt, watch how they play, watch how they relate to similar animals of the same species and how they relate to other species, right? That's all part of the wisdom of nature, right? But despite that being our tradition, the average life expectancy in the U.S. is 78.4 years. And for African Americans, it's 74. Asian Americans, though, have the highest life expectancy in the U.S. around 83.5 years. Now, well, before I get to that, I'm going to go to this last stat. Finances. Every Monday, at least in the diaspora, we talk about it being Money Monday. Everybody making an offering to Ajay for all this abundance, financial and otherwise. But the median household income in the U.S. is $80,610. The for African Americans is $56,400. But for the Asian Americans is $112,800. Now, one of the commonalities that I kept seeing listed as the foundation to all of these stats that they're leading in, you care to guess what it was?
What was it? Connection to family, connection to culture?
It was their spiritual tradition. It was Hinduism. It's not only their spiritual tradition, but it's a major part of their culture. Like Arluo says, for them, it's a way of life. Mm-hmm. So, me being an amateur scientist and an amateur sociologist can come and say their spiritual tradition has them leading in all these, what most people would call major statistics. And African Americans, or Americans in general, and African Americans specifically, are struggling. Now, what does this tell you? It sounds like Christianity and whatever else we doing as a whole is not working. But is it the practice or is it the people? What you say about that?
You know, you and I talked earlier today about my thoughts about there not being enough information. And, you know, some people will argue with me about that. But what I mean by not enough information is I'm saying that the things are not written down and it's not taught. They're not taught. Like, we're not specifically taught about relationships and marriage in the Oduwey file or the priests giving consultations about marriage and relationships.
Right.
As a part of the Hindu culture, they are taught these things from very young. One of the things that I found amazing about the culture, or specifically the spirituality, was that at 5 years old, young boys became brahmacharis. And brahmachari basically means student. But you are a brahmachari from the age of 5 until 25. And from that, in that time period, you live at the temple. You don't, there's no sex because you're not married. So from 5 to 25, there's no sex. And the only thing you do is study the literature and learn what it is to be a Vaishnava. That's it. That's all you do. You live at the temple, you learn at the feet of your guru, and you are taught all of the philosophy and application of this philosophy. And then at 25, if you decide you want to get married and have children, you can do that. That's the second step on that ladder, is becoming what they call a grihas, which is a householder. And you marry your wife, have children, and do everything that we're doing right now. You can have a job and take care of your family and all of that. And then past that, they go into other things like what they call retirement, which is not a retirement from like your job, but it's a retirement from family life. Like, these men, they leave their families, they leave their wives and children once their children have gone out, all of their children have gone off to college or become grown or of age, if they feel that calling spiritually, then they go into what's called retirement and go on a search for their guru. And then if they feel doubly called, then they go and become a sannyasi and go into renunciation and deny the world completely, deny everything completely. But there's a whole philosophy and section of the philosophy that goes into teaching about what are the responsibilities of a householder, of a grihas. What are your responsibilities to your family, to your children? What are you supposed to be doing? What are you supposed to be teaching them? All of it, and it's all written down. It's all written down. So the things that you talked about how we engage with each other as a community, as a family, for them, it's a part of the culture, and it's all written down. And I don't think we find that overall in general. We don't find that in any Ifa or anything else that we're practicing for that matter.
Right, absolutely. Scott, yeah, you're right. I did feel the tug of the spirit to come to Hinduism. And I'm gonna tell you about me. I am a life path 7 in every way, shape, or form. I'm always gonna search out truth no matter where it comes through. I do have a responsibility to Ifa. I do have a responsibility to Haitian Voodoo, and I am going to fulfill my obligations, not just for myself, but for my ancestors who were unable to do it, because I know it is some power in them things. But I also understand there are some things that as a practice, we don't do well in Ifa. One of the things we eat terribly in Ifa. Our body are not temples in Ifa by practice, and I know people are gonna be like, no, that ain't true. One of my brothers, my fans, Michael Wilson, always say, I can see better than I can hear. Or he would say, I can't hear you because your actions are speaking loud, right? And so, like, one of the things I think about is no, I don't think I'm gonna go there, dog. I'm gonna leave that one alone. Let me say it a little different.
Follow your spirit, bro.
Man, I said it all the time, man. Like, I've been to Ifa, I've been to Bembe's festivals, this, that, and the other, and it's McDonald's, it's it's Whataburger, all of that from Priest, right? I think nobody over the age of 12 in the United States of America think that those things have any nutritional value, right? Now, whatever you do is your decision, right? But there's aspects of being in the temples in Hinduism that feel comfortable just because of the dietary lifestyle that I know that I've been called to pursue. And I say called because anybody who know me know that I wasn't willingly passing up no Big Macs. I wasn't willingly passing up no bacon, egg, and cheese sandwiches. That's just not something that I woke up one day and said, I just randomly don't want to do that. Nah, that wasn't that. Right. We don't move our bodies in African spirituality. Other than dancing. I will say that. We will have a bembe and we will dance. And people will dance till they faint. I will say that. But that's not something that you're doing 4 days a week, right? One of the things that, because O'Shea and myself, we do readings. we do joint reading. And one thing we say that divination should answer 3 questions. What, why, and how. You know, what's going on? Why are you having that experience, and how do you move forward? For whatever reason, through practice, the only real how do you move forward in practice, and I'm generalizing, right? Your elay may do this, or your elay may do, or you as an individual may do this and do that, and that's beautiful. I'm just saying, as a practice, we just go with ritual. I always say ritual is like a payday loan. You know, it's going to stop you from getting change behavior, or you're going to be right back at the check cashing place the following week. And I think they have things, whether it's yoga, and when I talk about yoga, I mean the 8 limbs of yoga, not just the exercise portion. And when I say just, I don't mean to downplay it, because that part is important. I will follow Kuhn say you could tap into LI by certain yogic positions. They got breath work, is working with the chakra system. All of those type of things I know exist in Ifa, for instance. But in practice, it's not something that's highlighted. And so it becomes lost. And that's what Oshun is saying about everything being written down. You have easy access to it. Mm-hmm. All right. The big thing, though, I see that the spiritual tradition has done for Indian Americans is they actually have a real community. Like, we talk about the spiritual community, but we're not really a community. You know, we are a bunch of individuals that come together in separate elays here and there, scattered throughout the diaspora. But it's not a community. Like, what I do doesn't specifically benefit the elay per se, or other people inside of this quote unquote community. And that's the reason why those initiations are free. Because again, you see the annual household income that they making. They are donating. Everyone who can donates. And then so everybody else is taken care of. And then in part of those donations, what happens is they're able to fund things like initiation, because they understand that if the foundation devolves, then the community folds. That's why when I was finding statistics that say they're like immigrant Indians that came over from India, they make even more money than American-born Indians. Why? If I had to guess, I would say they have a stronger tie to their spiritual tradition and their cultural traditions. Mm. Mm. So, in doing a comparative analysis, I think Hinduism has given us a blueprint to follow if we really want to be better, if we want to be the best versions of ourselves, if we really truly want to have a strong community. Like, they've given us an example to follow, and I applaud them for that.
You know, it's a beautiful tradition. I want to talk about a couple of the things that you talked about. I feel like you and I have kind of gone back and forth about this yoga thing. And Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they practice what's called Bhakti yoga. Mm-hmm. Bhakti yoga has 64 limbs. It's 64 limbs of Bhakti yoga, neither of which have anything to do with bodily postures. There's nothing about bodily postures. Now, people integrate the bodily postures into Bhakti yoga because there are other forms of yoga within the culture that does use the bodily postures.
Sadhguru lied to me then.
It's just it's used in it. So this is the thing. If I would have heard Sadhguru say that bodily postures are part of Bhakti Yoga, I would have believed it as well. Mm-hmm. But now that I've gone to the temples and interacted with the people that have been practicing Bhakti Yoga all of their lives, and I'm interacting with these individuals, and they tell me, and again, it's all written down. I can go look at the 64 limbs of Bhakti Yoga, and they have nothing at all to do with the bodily postures. But there are some integrations in there. The chakra system is there. The meditation is there. The bodily postures are there. All of it is there. But within the confines of Bhakti Yoga, it has nothing to do with the bodily postures. The other thing is the diet. The diet, which is part of why, like you say, they are living longer than most people. But what really got me about the diet and why I haven't been eating any Zuzus and Wham Whams though is because their reason for not eating meat. It's the reason behind why they don't eat meat. And the belief is that I think you kind of got to back up and go to the belief surrounding the mechanism of rebirth. So, in Ifa, we believe that the mechanism of rebirth is that we're continuously born in our own bloodline lineage. Mm-hmm. There's sort of a layover as well, that when the body dies, whatever survives goes to a room, it stays there a while and waits to incarnate or chooses to incarnate again. This is not the case in Hinduism. In Hinduism, the mechanism for rebirth is transmigration. And in transmigration, there is no layover. Immediately when the body dies, the spirit soul goes to another body, or it goes to another womb. It immediately goes to another womb. And not just to a human womb. It can go into the womb of a sheep, a pig, horse, they say that there are 8,400,000 different species for us to go through. They use that number. That's the number that they use, 8,400,000. And so based on your karma, you can be born as anything. But that part that survives, the depth of the body, is believed. The part that animates me, the spirit soul that animates me, is the exact same spirit soul that animates a pig. And that's the reason that they don't kill and eat pigs. Not because a pig is nasty. And that could be part of it as well. But as far as I've read so far, it's because of the spirit soul that exists inside of that animal. And we are not authorized to separate the spirit from the body. So when that was what got me, the belief that something else that is alive is being animated by the exact same thing that animates my body.
I don't think that's different from Ifa. I mean, talk about all things that was created by Olodumare have consciousness. I think what kind of throws it off, for the lack of a better word, in African spirituality is animal sacrifice. Now, understanding those things are sanctioned at that time, but I think that's what kind of throws people, or gives people maybe, well, you know what? Let me not even tell that lie. I think people just like to eat meat. It tastes good. That's what they're gonna
do. Oh man, I think anything can be justified. And animal sacrifice was also practiced in Hinduism, but for a time, they believe in what they call yugas or ages or these long periods of time where certain things are for certain ages. And for us now, or for Hindus now, that's not a part of what needs to be done here in what they call Kali Yuga. So they don't sacrifice animals, they don't kill them, they don't eat them, they don't provide a market for them to be slaughtered. There's also a belief that the animals that you eat will at some point have an opportunity to kill you as well. That this is the karma that we've built up, and that whatever you kill will at some point have that they will have some ability to kill you as well. No animal sacrifice is done in bhakti yoga at all either. No animal sacrifice, no animal eating.
Well, I think they kill you through cancer, diabetes, and all these other lifestyle diseases, if nothing else. Can you see any comments and stuff? And see if anybody, maybe anybody has any comments or questions or stuff. I was trying to do it, but I can't really see.
Yeah, I can see on IG. Someone said, "I love that," and I think I read somewhere it's the oldest documented religion. Some people will argue with you about that because when you say documented, again, we're talking about things being written down, and people will argue that the Egyptian spiritual system was written down thousands and thousands and thousands of years before that. What is had in for the Vaishnavas is that they still have all their documentation, and we are able to, even though Sanskrit is a dead language, it's still used as part of the spiritual system. I agree with my brother Fafore in that I don't know if we can really translate the hieroglyphs.
Yeah, that's because I can't. My thing is this: if somebody send me something in Spanish and I read it, I can go to Jose and be like, "Yo, what this say?" And he can verify it or say, "Nah, he tripped. This is what it said." So any of these people talking about we decoded it and this, that, and that, man, until you show me some people who walking around like, and they've been speaking it their whole life, that I can go to them and be like, "Yo, what this say?" I ain't buying it. I've always been skeptical when it comes to that. Yeah, man, I don't know. I think it's one of them things where I don't necessarily have the answer to. I know that we do need a change in African spirituality.
Hold on, we got Quene. Quene says no animal sacrifice is still done in Shakti Tantra, and in certain rites in Tantra, animal sacrifice is still sanctioned. Now, like my brother Fafore said, I've only been doing this for 10 minutes, but I think Tantra is something separate, or it's its own limb of that culture. I haven't come across anything tantric at the temples or in any of the writings that I'm reading concerning Gaudiya Vaishnavas. From the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, I haven't come across anything that has to do with Tantra. So I think that's something separate, like it's its own limb. It's its own limb of the culture. So again, I've only been doing this for 10 minutes, so I'm not sure. I know for sure that in Bhakti Yoga that there's no animal sacrifice, there's no animal eating, there's no providing a market for the slaughter of animals.
Yeah. The one thing about, so we talked about Tantra. Osho, he was big into Tantra. And he always talked about yoga, or in his reading, in his book, I already talked about yoga. And he talked about yoga was more about suppressing things. It seemed, the way he describes it, it was more, I guess, overly feminine, and Tantra energetically was more masculine. And so, so that's a whole nother thing though. But I will say this again, they done figured a lot of things out. And I don't know, sometimes I think ritual has been more of a crutch, at least for us in the diaspora. And I know one day Amambola in his book, If I Were Men, The Broken World, he said that those of us in America, he might have said the diaspora, or he might have just said America. I think he said America because he was, on one hand, he was bigging up Cuba. So I think he was talking about those of us in America. He said we rely too much on ritual. Mm-hmm. You know, everything is about it. What's the elbow for that? And for me, it's been, you know, we've been in this for 7 years. Outside of initiations and Egbe or Ishefa, outside of those rituals, I maybe needed one elbow in 7 years. Mm. And so, yeah, I think sometimes we do become too dependent on that. We real heavy on the ritual, real light on the work. You know, try to be real heavy on the magic and, you know, real light on the discipline. And so...
And no reliance on the philosophy.
I'm gonna say this about the philosophy. My old dude talks about moderation in all things. And I remember people used to tell me about moderation. I would say Maluo never said this. But other people would tell me what moderation meant. And basically it's like, you know, if you do this, if you do a little bit of that and balance it out, or you could do that, but you don't do it all the time, and you good. And I mean, even priests told me that. And I remember thinking to myself, and I would just smile and say thank you. But in my head, I'd be like, I know that ain't it. The Odu Otori Irete defines moderation. And moderation ain't a little bit of this and a little bit of that. You know, for every shot at the bar, drink you a glass of water and you've moderated. No, that ain't what it is. That Odu defines moderation, and it says moderation includes avoiding certain things, because certain things fall outside of what is normal, what is something we should practice. You can't moderate that. Because what I would always say when somebody would tell me this is what moderation means, I'd be like, so I can steal a little bit, I can rape a little bit, you know what I'm saying? I can, you know, kill a little bit. Like, oh, you going too far. You said in all things, like, make it make sense. But when I go and, oh, you being too hyperbolic. So you telling me the story of Asar and a set isn't hyperbolic? That's how African people talk. That's how we tell stories. It's supposed to be hyperbolic. But you get my point. You clearly don't think moderation in all things is a thing, because I clearly name things that you say, nah, that ain't it. Which is exactly what Otori Irete says. And one of the things, a couple of things it said is moderation is not having debts. So if you got credit card debt, you are not in moderation. It says moderation is not drinking alcohol. It doesn't say moderation is drinking alcohol if you at the Elay doing it. It ain't saying drinking alcohol is cool if you graduated from college, you want to celebrate, or it's your birthday, or none of the things. It says no alcohol. Because alcohol, being what it is, cannot be moderated. So it's saying don't do it. But then you have people who say, well, I can do that if it wasn't my old dude.
Man, I was just gonna say that too.
Oh, I said it for you because I know that used to tear you
up. Yeah, man. I was definitely gonna say that, and that's what I was talking about when I say no reliance on the philosophy, because we like to compartmentalize the philosophy when we know, or when I feel like I know that there's an underlying philosophy that runs through the entire Odu Ifa, and that you don't have to have a specific Odu for that to apply to you. Again, we're talking about the wisdom of nature, and we're talking about everything. So there's no reliance on the philosophy. We've talked about this before, not letting that which you believe guide your behavior, or that which you claim to believe, the entirety of it, to guide your behavior. And I feel like that's what they're doing in Hinduism. There's a full belief in the literature and in the philosophy, and they are allowing that to guide the way that they live and act and are.
And that is how you become perfect. Because somehow we have falsely made perfect mean flawless. And that's not what it means. It's a difference between being perfect and being flawless. And so, like you said, adhering to the philosophy of the Judaism, we don't really see that. And I think the problem with, I'm just gonna say specifically Black Americans, is most of us came to Ifa from religion, and we bring religion into Ifa. I see people who practice Ifa, have their hand in Ifa, and say things like, man, I'm just following the plan that God made for me. Where the hell is the Odu that say that? What Odu say that? You got an Odu at Ishe 5. And nowhere does it, that I've seen at least, that it say God gave you an Odu. It talks about how we selected the Ori and this, that, and the other. We chose our parents. Where is this God? Our Luo would always say, the moment you were born, God left the room. But now, it ain't in the Bible, but it's part of what we call Christian, I don't even want to call it philosophy, because the philosophy ain't based on nothing. Practice. It's Christian practice that God is sitting up there in heaven and playing puppet master with everybody's life. And every time something good happens to you, or something that you determine to be good, then, you following God's plan. But what the hell made you special? Like, God just decided He's going to get everything sweet for you. And it's homeless people. Kids are being trafficked like crazy. People being abused, killed, raped, this, that, and the other. God bypassed all of that shit so you can get a new car? Like, what are we talking about? Like, that philosophy don't even make sense. That's not even biblical. But we bring those same thought processes because we haven't unlearned and relearned. We just trade it. Just like how we'll break up in a relationship on a Sunday, and Thursday you got a new you got a new dip. You already calling somebody boo and baby by Thursday. Like, how you got a pet name for somebody in 4 days? But that's kind of how we do with going from religion to spirituality. We just slide in, and because we don't have a written down philosophy, because we haven't cultivated the spaces to where we can teach certain things a certain way, we just out here trading Jesus for Shango. And philosophy stays the same. We got any comments, any questions? I can't see.
Nah. Now this was a much needed conversation. I think sure. Once I get we're gonna have to revisit this conversation again. You know, once I've been going to the temple and bothering Brother Scott Sundar Nanda Das for at least an hour. Like you say, I've been in 10 minutes right now. I'm gonna need at least an hour and studying the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavatam, learning more about the soul, more about the philosophy and that type of thing, and then we can have this conversation again. But I mean, it's been beautiful so far. The philosophy is beautifully laid out for everyone to see it and make their own decisions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's good. I can genuinely say I'm happy for your process. I done cried it out. I done you was this close to going in Ogun Pop. You was that close. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, wait a minute, that's still your brother. Like, don't do him like that.
Yeah.
And again, all I say is when it's time to go to Haiti, we out there. You know what I'm saying? and we could be doing yoga and going through Kanzo at the same time. But right. But yeah, that's dope, man. That's dope. And if nothing more, it has definitely given us a blueprint, a template. And if we can get out our feelings, because I know people gonna say, oh, well, we went through slavery and we had this and we had that. I get it. I understand. I studied in detail the slave trade and all the different things, the Jim Crow, all the legislation, every civil right, all that stuff that has happened I studied all that. But we can't talk about how powerful African spirituality is and then on the same token say, but then this happened to us. Because our people are powerful. Like, the hard work has been done by our ancestors. We have the luxury to do the easy part, which is just show up and put some effort and some energy into truly changing. We are in a universal year 9, like why we started the conversation off. Necessary endings for new beginnings. The title for this is Necessary Endings for New Beginnings. There are some things we got to give up. I gave up burgers, now I got to give up the fake burgers so I can be the best version of myself. I want that. I no longer want to be the average version of myself. I want to be the best version of myself. And that's going to come with hard work. Like, I'm going to have to have some discipline for real to have that. And that's why I can appreciate practices like Hinduism. I can appreciate practices like Nation of Islam for that whole reason too, when it comes to the whole discipline. Because I don't think there's been a system out there, and I am not a Muslim, never been a Muslim, but I can appreciate what they have done for changing the lives of Black Americans. We need to have like some Nation of Islam, E5 little mashup, then we'll be cold out here. You know what I'm saying? Because we are lacking that discipline. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, yeah, man, this was a beautiful talk. Y'all see some pictures here in the next couple of weeks because we all meeting up to go visit a beautiful temple here in Houston. You know what I'm saying? So, man, we appreciate y'all, family. Like I said, man, from season 1, we talked about going on this journey with us. Like, we don't have no ego with this. You know, we might come on the podcast a year from now and say, oh, we think completely different of what we talked about today. Who knows? But we open to have that experience, right? And we open to have it with y'all. You know, we don't know everything. We know a little about a lot, but we don't know everything. And we are open to change and shifting as it comes. You know, because a month ago, Oseun did not foresee going down this path.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Hell, when we got into Haitian voodoo, that wasn't on the bucket list. Mm-hmm. You know? But we're going to continue to be honest with ourselves. We're going to continue to be honest with y'all. And hopefully together, we can get to wherever we need to be. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to come back in the next lifetime as pigs.
Right. Right.
All right, my brother, what you got?
Man, that's it, man. This was a beautiful conversation, man. It's some other things to talk about the, you know, we talked a lot about the similarities, and the next time we revisit this conversation, we'll talk about some of the differences in belief, differences in philosophy and in belief, because you brought up something. But yeah, this was a much needed conversation, and for those of us that have, like you say, no ego, my thoughts, my beliefs are malleable. I'm going where the information is, or where the information leads me. So, you know, like you say, a year from now, I may come on here and say, forget all of this, but we'll figure it out together. We're gonna figure it out together.
All right, family, we appreciate y'all. Until next time, peace.